Good morning. Today we're looking at Luke chapter 1, verse 46 to 56. We see in this passage it is Mary's song, the Magnificat. But what I sensed God was encouraging us to think about today is this question. Are we addicted to happiness? I'm sure many of you know people who live for happiness. We live for pleasure. We live, the word happiness comes from the word happening. It's a reaction to something that happens. Delight. I'm delighted that Manchester United won at the weekend. It's something happens and happiness is caused. But joy is different. Joy, in Hebrew, there are 25 different words for joy. In Greek, there are 10 different words. The Bible references joy 150 times. So what is joy? I want to throw it out there early on. I don't know. What is joy? What is it? I don't know the definitive answer. But I wanted for us to really think about it. A lady called Sabina Wurmbrand. If you've heard of Sabina and Richard Wurmbrand, they were Jews who, during the Cold War, they were Christian Jews. Richard was a Protestant pastor. They were arrested for their faith, and they were put in prison. Richard was in prison for 14 years, where every day he endured torture. But interestingly, Sabina teaches something about the perfect about the perfect tense. Let me read you. This is from her book, A Pastor's Wife. In Hebrew, amazingly, some future events are described in the perfect tense. Now, the perfect tense is so called because it refers to actions completed, perfected at the time of speaking. So in the great 53rd chapter of Isaiah, which foretells the coming of the Messiah and his sufferings, the writer speaks of these events as belonging to the past, not the future. Yet the words were written 800 years yet the words were written 800 years before the coming of Christ. When Jesus read the prediction of his sufferings, they had already begun. He was then rejected and despised of men. It was his present and his future. But he read of them in Hebrew as if they'd happened in the past. Now that is exactly how I felt in the midst of suffering. I tried to explain joy is the everlasting present of the Christian spirit. I was in a heavenly place from which no one could move me. Where was the affliction through which I passed? To that most inviolable part of me, that part of my mind, it belonged to the past. I lived the suffering long ago, while the present reality was delight in the closeness of the Lord. This certainty that it had already happened saved me. Catastrophes come to us all, but once they're over, they're done with. That is taught in this oddity of Hebrew. We experience now past dramas. So what she's saying is not escapism. This is a biblical example, and this is what is happening in Luke 1, where Mary is saying these are things that have already happened, but they've not completely happened. They are the things that we read back on and we know that they happened. Almost like declarations, but a little bit, slightly different. I hope that spurs some interesting thoughts and encourage you to take your pursuit of what joy is to the Lord. And I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.